Two now is that it's dragging on. Slight disadvantage, one might say, for whoever wins to go on to play tomorrow. Sampras well finished.
Oh, yes. Nearly on no.
Yes, you didn't see him come back, did you? Nor did I for a moment. Thought he was out of it. He still has the speed. Strong, of course, because he's been playing so many matches, Agassi. So whilst he may not train as much as the others, just winning tennis will have made him match fit. Again, pushing this volley, steering it so that there's no great speed in it. Oh, that he could hit it across him, because he'd get more power that way. Yes, he'd like to approach Krajicek's record in this tournament, set this year, for this year, 38 aces in a match.
Oh, how about that? So what, it scorched you? One game all, fourth set.
Oh, wonderful control here of the low volley. It was inches above the ground. Just laying the wrist back a bit, using the pace that Agassi sent at him. Well, we're back to where we were at the start of the match. Well, the first ace for over a set, none in the last set. And he needs some cheap points, of course.
2-1 Agassi leads, and 2-1 he leads.
2-1.
And Super Saturday is heading towards its 10th hour. I must say that to just about everybody's delight, the organisers of the US Open haven't repeated the mistake they made of the famous, or was it infamous, day 5 or 6 years ago. Oh, more than that. When it went on and on and on, started at 11 o'clock with the first men's semi, and then went through to about 10 o'clock at night, if I remember rightly. The mistake they made was that beforehand on the centre court, they put a final of a senior event between Stan Smith and I think John Newcombe, assuming it wouldn't take long. Well, of course, there's no such thing as putting two competitors on a court and expecting them not to take long, and so they went on, and by the time Cash and Lendl got on, and then Everton Navratilova got on for the women's final, and then finally McEnroe Connors got on, people were sort of falling asleep in their dozens, despite the brilliance. And I can remember one or two of us said at the time, you know, this is too much of a feast. You come to a point where you can't digest it anymore.
Quite a sturdy physique there, as you saw some while ago when Agassi took his shirt off. He's built up quite a bit of muscle where before there was fat. Competitive family, of course. His father was an Iranian Olympic boxer, and Agassi says the event he would pay the most money to see is a heavyweight championship of the world.
Oh, some point. After 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Well, this is pushing yourself. My goodness, scampering, wonderful footwork to run at that speed and to be able to control it. That's good timing of the feet. Plants the left foot. Of course, that's what most people really marvel at these players, the way they can run. Of course, it's practice that makes perfect. So difficult just to imagine yourself running and playing great shots on the run. It all has to do with getting the feet into the right position.
Becker's ace count grows and grows. That's 24. It must be serving as well as he's ever done, I would have thought. Think back to his great days at Wimbledon, where it's easier to serve aces because it's grass and it's so quick. Two games all, and when you think that it's generally accepted that since Connor stopped playing at this level, Agassi has the best return of serve. I don't know what it says about Becker's serving. It has been quite outstanding.
I can see Becker just more and more throwing caution to the wind, going for them. That's his nature. He's not going to paddle about.
This is a critical moment for Agassi. It really is. Love 30 at 2-all in the fourth.
Well, he may have been a little short with this. He tried to keep it very low. But even though he's lost it, as he says, the message gets across to his opponent. And this is the message he wants to give them. But don't look up, but I'm coming in more and more.
Well, if Becker could break Agassi here, anything could happen.
Boy, that's a sigh of relief for the server. Well, he's going for this, and I was surprised, really, that he sent up the lob on the previous point. I think if you lob now, you've got to lob very aggressively, or else you've got to send it heavenward and make Agassi let it bounce.
Becker really opening his shoulders here again. I think he senses that this is a critical game. Would have been the moment it really would have done if Becker could have got a break there when he had Agassi 15-40. Instead, Agassi leads 3-2. Two-three.
Well, really got caught in between shots there, Agassi. Becker doing that stretching routine, telling himself he's got to hit up and through the ball. How many times have we not seen this? The steered volley. Agassi now anticipating it. He has for a long time. Then the cross court, because Becker himself covering the side of the court in which the ball is.
His 25th ace of the match takes Becker to 3-all in the fourth set, when it'd been 2 sets to love down and 1-4 down in the third.
And very saliently, Becker's coming up talking to the umpire.
They're coaching too?
He's worried about...
So watching him is all right, and he's standing right in front.
He's been watching Agassi throughout the match every now and again, Becker, and he's a bit concerned that when Agassi goes to the corner of the court, he gets a bit too close to Gilbert, and that there might be coaching going on. I don't know why he's worrying, because his bombardment is continuously heavy and increasingly heavy, Becker's. Remember, Agassi's only broken him once in the match.
Away.
Well, any opportunity you get, of course, with Agassi on the stretch and presented with a soft shot, Becker's going to leap in. I think Becker may have done a lot better striking that backhand, just getting a bit closer to it and hitting the flat one, going for it.
Agassi 4-3. Fourth set. The point about Becker complaining that Brad Gilbert has been shouting advice from the side of the court, if in fact that's what's been happening. One of the things that Brad Gilbert has been trying to teach Agassi is to develop a second game, a sort of fallback position. And I would say at this moment, I don't know what you think, Fru, that it's not very evident that Agassi, on his own at least, has yet come up with a way of turning this back in his direction.
Well, I don't think he can really play much differently than the way he's playing, as effective as it is. He's still the man in the lead. I think what he has been done, and it's not really answering your question, but I think what Agassi has done is the sort of thing that Becker is capable of doing and is showing us now that he can do. Agassi is able now to dig down, it's a word often used, and either go for his shots all the more instead of being tentative, or else continue to go for the shots and just not make errors. But whatever he does, Agassi, he goes for his shots. He remains a baseliner. He can, of course, look to attack a little bit more, perhaps. That is, go to the net. He's gone in precious few times, only a handful of times, as opposed to Becker, who's gone in, well, probably 20 times more than Agassi.
3-4.
15.
Agassi's never read that in all the 4 hours almost they've been on court. Slice serve wide of his forehand from the right court.
This is really where brute strength comes into play. Of course, it's allied to wonderful technique. Well, it wasn't the best return, and Becker should have done a bit more with it than that. Lovely bit of timing and footwork again by Agassi, showing his determination and strength too. The rally of the match, perhaps. This is immense tennis.
Oh, this is alive the way it used to be in the Connors and McEnroe day now. Foul.
Touch of the heroic here in Becker's defense. Agassi for once faltered for slight lack of footwork. Who can blame him? It's not paralysing that. He served 14 against Patrick McEnroe in the last round, 14 doubles.
Well, it's spellbinding stuff. It's getting better and better.
Well, I often think this is such a good play against the double-hander. 3 times in this match, Becker's tried it. Twice Agassi's done that with his one hand, showing that he's got the control there too.
Hot serve again.
Well, let's remind ourselves that this is just the most phenomenal of tennis. Such a beautiful picture, of course. The net rusher and the counter-puncher. US Open semis, my goodness.
They kept the best for the Late Late Show. Terrific. 4 games all, 4th set. 3 hours. 10 past 8 at night in New York. And the first match today, in which Sampras got through the final, that started at 11. Phew.
In that last game alone, 14 points. Vigorous, muscular, brainy.
Look at this.
Well, it's even now rising above the Selish Graf match in its magnificence. And that takes some doing.
Five-four. Agassi, fourth set. Well, I think this is the best match I've seen, apart from the women's final. What say you?
Yes, I agree. And you don't want it to change either. Seventh love game of the match for Agassi, but he hasn't had one since the last set. That is the measure of Becker's defense here, Becker's resurgence. Gosh, he's a tiger.
He scaled his particular peak, seems to me, when he won the Australian Open, and in doing so for the first time went to #1 in the world on the world ranking list, and it was such an enormous achievement for him that just for a moment he had to be alone, and it was an extraordinary thing that happened. He walked straight out of the stadium before the presentations, before anything, after the final, straight out of the stadium, because he wanted to be alone with the trees and the possums out there. And he was out there for a couple of minutes, just so he could take it all in and calm himself down before he walked back in again for the presentation ceremony. He's never been quite the same since then, until perhaps now. This is a second flowering for Becker, no question of that. 4-5, fourth set.
Agassi buttering him up with a couple of slower ones. And what he's looking for, of course, is that Becker might not time the ball quite as well, might drop it a bit short, and then he'll tear into him.
Well, that forehand, that could be a match-winning shot. He's found a spark again.
Yes, you see these chaps tearing about the roads of Manhattan on their roller skates, on their blades, and it seems to me that Agassi now has got his blades on.
Well, there you are. Quite extraordinary.
Well, this is a battle of two world boxing champions, really. If Agassi loves a contest.
3 match points, a mountainous end to this second semi-final. It's just got hotter and hotter and hotter. Yes, and he does it again. Well, 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 what an end. The last 4 or 5 minutes. Really, you'd want to see it again, I would. suddenly inspiration. A very cold handshake. Very cold handshake. He looks angry. As a winner, he looks angry. It's been a marvellous day's tennis. Wonderful day's tennis. And the Americans have got the final they wanted between Sampras and Agassi. Half a Greek, half an Iranian, but to them 2 Americans. We've had a wonderful women's final. We've had 2 very good semis. And right at the very end of Super Saturday, we've seen tennis that really made you blink.
Well, I must admit, I'm taken aback. It just happened all so quickly. 4 punches to the chin, and Agassi, the lighter man, had taken out the heavyweight champion of the world. What a stunner. Quite incredible.
And you really can't ask for more than that. Let's leave it on the handshake, though. It was one of the coldest handshakes you'll ever see. Super Saturday's finished for another year. The final's tomorrow. So we're going to say goodnight for now. And we hope you join us for the men's final. Best of 5 sets. 9 o'clock tomorrow evening on Sky Sports. Good night.
Well, if that wasn't the Super Saturday of tennis, I don't know what would be. So Andre Agassi will take on Pete Sampras in the men's final. You can see that match tonight at 9 o'clock. But really, the story of the day is all about one lady, Steffi Graf. Good night.
Salted.